Few things in EDH strike me as Timmy more than doubling your mana production. What if you had Mirari's Wake in your command zone? Hey guys, it's Shannon the Timmy from the Trinisphere, where Timmy, Johnny, and Spike battle over all things EDH. We've got Ravnica Allegiance upon us. The end is nigh. The Trinisphere gang got together and started brewing Ravnica Allegiance EDH decks. We've got Prime Speaker Vanifar, we've got Teysa Karlov, we've got Judith Scourge Diva, and we've got Nikya of the Old Ways. Be sure to like if we're on the right track with these deck techs. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see the gameplays in which these decks face off against each other. And be sure to check below in the description for links to those other deck techs and lists. So Nikya of the Old Ways. She doubles mana production. She's a 5-mana 5/5 Centaur Druid that says, you can't cast non-creature spells. Ouch. But she does say whenever you tap a land for mana, add an additional mana of a type that land produced. Sweet. So where do we go with Gruul mana production? Well, a lot of people are going to say, whoa, this is the Hydra commander I've been looking for all this time. Now, I think there's other commanders that are just as good, if not better, at playing Hydras. For example, Selvala Heart of the Wilds, which can draw you cards when each subsequent Hydra is bigger than the last. Well, maybe you can play Eldrazi Titan, just gigantic, the biggest creatures you can get your hands on. But I think Azusa might have been better than that. We've seen quite a lot of that in our play group. So where does Nikya excel that these other commanders don't? So if you were tuning in for our Ravnica Allegiance theory crafting stream we had, you may have heard me kind of have an epiphany, if not a humorous joke. And I said, what if Nikya was the fire-breathing tribal commander that we've been waiting for? And this idea was based off of a concept that our Johnny Adam has done successfully with his Satan deck, and that is a combo that exists between Argothian Elder and Maze of Ith. So Argothian Elder untaps 2 lands. Maze of Ith untaps an attacking creature. So these 2 cards can combo together. When you attack with Argothian Elder, you can then untap it, and then you can then tap it to untap Maze of Ith, as well as another land, creating a loop between Argothian Elder, Maze of Ith, and untapping any number of lands. So what do you do with infinite mana in combat step? Well, what happens if they didn't block a fire-breathing dragon? I think they just took 1,000,000 damage. So that's where we're at here. This is what we're trying to work with. This is the brew of brews. Nikya Firebreathing. So how do we go about building Nikya Firebreathing? We broke this list down into a lot of categories. 9 to be precise. Because there's a lot of detail to go over here. And for a deck that runs very few, just 2 non-creature spells, it has a bit of complexity. Our first category is mana doublers, cards that mimic Nikya's effect by producing extra mana from our lands when they tap. Despite not being able to play Zendikar Resurgent, Mana Flare, Heartbeat of Spring, we can still run 3 creatures: Regal Behemoth, Vorinclex Voice of Hunger, and Zerta Ancient. Now that our other lands are producing multiple per tap, our mana dork situation can be shifted in a unique way away from cards that just tap for a single green or a single colorless, or cards that may just put a land or 2 into play, to some creatures that untap our lands, such as Arbor Elf, Hope Tender, Krosan Restorer, Ley Weaver, Magus of the Candelabra, and Voyaging Satyr. These cards are a little slower on the curve than generic mana dorks, but they synergize with a lot of the other elements in this Gruul deck. For example, whenever you get an extra attack step, untapping all of your creatures, including all of these creatures, means that they then untap some of your lands as well. Now that we've got all this mana, what do we use it on? We want to use it on fire-breathing monstrosities. Now they're spread throughout the deck, but here are some of the highlights. The honorary dragon Chameleon Colossus, Inferno Titan, Kamal Fist of Krosa, Of course, Kessig Wolfrun is going to make an appearance. Moonveil Dragon, and Scourge of Valkus. So, we kind of gone over the Maze combo, but one more time. Maze combo is one of our categories that includes Argothian Elder, as well as Ley Weaver, which is a functional reprint, and as well as Maze of Ith. So those cards work in conjunction to create infinite mana during our attack step. There's also Ventmaw Assault, which we can still run, which of course includes Savage Ventmaw paired with Aggravated Assault. Those two cards work in conjunction to give us an infinite number of attack steps. We can throw a Hellkite Charger in here in the mix too. It doesn't go infinite with Savage Ventmaw right away, but if we have any of these other mana dorks who are just tapping for mana, then we've got ourselves a Brew. Alright, so after that, we have our ramp creatures. We have a few of the generic 1 mana rampers because our commander costs 5 and we need her out as soon as possible. So we're still going to run our Birds of Paradise. We're still going to run Elvish Mystic, our Finhorn Elves. We're also going to run Selvala Heart of the Wilds. She's still just too good to pass up. We're also going to run Shaman of the Forgotten Ways because it's very easy to get to 11 mana, and Biorhythm will kill plenty of opponents. We're still going to want to put extra lands into play, so we're still going to run Farhaven Elf and Wood Elves. We're going to run Oracle Moldiah, and we're going to run Sakura Tribe Elder. So now that we're into the veggies area, let's talk about the hardest parts of Gruul, and that is removal and draw. So here's what we're going to do for removal. We've got quite a bit still. We're going to run Ancient Hellkite, Flame Blast Dragon, Flame Tongue Kavu, Meteor Golem, and Steel Hellkite, all capable of blowing up creatures on the opponent's battlefield. For non-creature, we're going to have Bane of Progress, Indrik Stomp Howler, Mold Shambler, Reclamation Sage, and Terastodon. So even with a creature-based approach, we still have up to 10 different threats able to deal with their opponent's board. For draw, you think we'd be at a huge disadvantage, but you'd be surprised to know that there are 10 to 15 different draw engines in here. We've got Beast Whisperer, Combustible Gearhulk, Duskwatch Recruiter, Magus of the Wheel, Nissa Vastwood Seer, Soul of the Harvest, Tireless Tracker, and Vizier of the Menagerie. Because we have 2 non-creature cards in here, which of course we can't cast once Nikya's in play, we do run the pair of looters, Mad Prophet and Rummaging Goblin, as a way to get rid of those, as well as just lands, late game. We also still have some tutoring cards able to get us specific pieces that we need, including Brutalizer Exarch, Fauna Shaman, Fierce Empath, Imperial Recruiter, and Woodland Bellower. There's also in here the Ovenwald Hydra, which allows us to go get the maze as part of the combo if we needed to. Finally, we are into our Spice and Utilities section. We've got in our Spice Rorick Thar the Unbowed, Temur Sabertooth, which allows us to pick up Nikya in case we need to cast one of those 2 non-creature spells in our deck, and Urabrask the Hidden, which gives all of our creatures haste. And that's very important because you may have seen in this list already one of our 2 non-creature spells, Aggravated Assault. The other is Primal Surge. Oh boy! One of my favorite Timmy cards. I have won with this beast before, and it is very gratifying. And I'm here to do it again, and this deck list is primed to do so. In this deck, there are 0 misses for Primal Surge. Even Aggravated Assault, the only other non-creature, non-land card in the deck, is a permanent. So when you cast Primal Surge, you get to go through your entire deck and play as many of those creatures as you'd like. Of course, this is great with Urabrask the Hidden, which will then give them all haste. So hopefully you can pretty much obliterate everyone if Primal Surge resolves. There's a few utility considerations for my matchup, including Ravenous Slime and Scavenging Ooze as well, because I know against Judith and Teysa, there's going to be a lot of graveyard recursion nonsense. Alright guys, so that's my take on Nikya of the old ways. This is not really budget, because it was really hard to brew her. This list came out to about $360 to $400, that kind of range. We really went hard to try and make this thing work. Let me know what you guys think. Would you have rather just seen a Nikya Hydra deck? Would you have liked to seen Eldrazi Titan make an appearance? Or would you say, I would have just risked it and played instants and sorceries. Alright guys, that wraps it up for the Nikya deck tech. Be sure to like and subscribe, especially if you want to see this deck tech in action against all the other Ravnica commanders next week. This is Shannon the Timmy signing off, and as always, it's not about winning, it's about sending a message.